If I were to ask you the very controversial question of who is Ninjago's mascot, who would you pick? Would it be Lloyd, or the original poster boy Kai? Or would you pick the wildcard option of saying the mailman? Hey, he's been in a lot of Ninjago content, okay? I think he deserves to be held high with the rest of the main characters. Actually, we haven't seen him in quite a bit. I hope he's doing okay. Mourning the disappearance of the mailman aside, sticking to the theme of mascots, I want to introduce you to the beautiful and sometimes off-putting world of Ninjago mascot costumes. When LEGO tries to bring our favourite plastic ninja into the real world with these massive costumes that an underpaid Legoland employee has surely passed out in at least once. Seriously, these things must be incredibly uncomfortable to wear for more than 20 minutes. The people who wear these better be getting stakes in the Ninjago franchise itself for the work they're putting in. Now before we tackle the very large amount of Ninjago mascot costumes created over the years, why don't we answer the question of what even is a mascot costume? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory really, but let's just make sure we're all on the same page here. The mascot costume is of course a large costume worn by some unlucky soul to represent an iconic mascot character, such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, or the most recognizable of them all, the money-hungry mouse himself, Mickey Mouse. Oh my god, that is terrifying. Okay, well that's somewhat better. His eyes still say he wants my soul for eternal servitude, but it's a start. LEGO is no stranger to the mascot costume concept, as they have mass-produced several different types of mascot costumes for all kinds of characters to be used in the several Legolands across the world and certain special events. Unfortunately, that does mean they created mascot costumes for everyone's beloved Chima. This activates my fight or flight response and I am ready to defend Ninjago's honor. Thankfully, due to the Ninjago characters being human, or whatever this counts as within the Ninjago world, the mascot costumes are a whole lot better. Well, we can't all be winners now, can we? Over the years, LEGO has done a pretty good job at turning these marketable minifigures into large mascot costumes that people can actually wear and represent their favourite ninja characters. These things certainly are a whole lot better than the crappy Halloween costumes you can buy at a Walmart. The earliest ninja suit that I could find a mascot costume for is Kai DX, which put beside some of the more modern costumes, you can definitely tell this was LEGO's first attempt, as it is a completely different type of design and material. Seeing it with LEGO's newer costumes really shows how different it is, looking more like some sort of inflatable outfit compared to the more cloth look of the newer models. At least this mascot costume gets the great honour of having its very own prop, unlike every other costume, even if the Sword of Fire isn't at all properly scaled with the rest of the costume. How in the world is Kai even holding this thing? Compared to the other mascot costumes, this Kai DX has absolutely massive hands. I swear, they're literally the same size as this Lloyd's head. Don't worry, we'll talk about everything wrong with this one later. Let's focus on one strange costume at a time. Probably because this costume is based on a minifigure using the very old Ninja hood piece, Kai's head seems way too small for the rest of the costume. Thankfully after this one, LEGO stepped up their game in terms of Ninjago mascot costumes. If every other costume looked like this one, I'd force myself to go blind. It wouldn't be until the rebooted suits that we get another mascot costume, with it yet again being Kai, with the odd fact that it seems to have been based off this one Ninjago Jr. set, as it features the usual rebooted Kai torso, but with Kai's ZX hood instead of the half mask and hair. I can only guess that they made this change as Kai's hair is maybe too difficult to make work at the time, or they were just being stupid, which, yeah, that is a big possibility too. They would eventually give us an unmasked Kai with hair costume, so hey, good for them for working it out. Unfortunately, none of the other ninjas seem to get their rebooted suits turned into mascot costumes, which, to be honest, I don't really care about, as rebooted suits themselves are pretty mid, and they most likely would have just copied their junior's appearance as well anyways. But that doesn't mean that this Kai costume wasn't our only rebooted based mascot costume. No, we did not get Scales Jr. before you ask. Instead, our only other rebooted themed mascot costume would be Pixel, which I'm fairly certain was made well after rebooted Kai, but I'll include it here just to match a rebooted Kai. Whoever designed this costume did a fantastic job at recreating Pixel's rebooted minifigure. If only rebooted Kai could have been given the same treatment. The jungle outfits from the very beloved Season 4 would be turned into mascot costumes next, consisting of 3 different costumes, 2 for Jungle Kai, I'm getting real sick of this red bastard, and our first ninja mascot costume that isn't Kai, Jungle Lloyd, looking like LEGO's modern prices with all this inflation. These two mascot costumes that look like inflatables weren't actually produced by LEGO themselves, instead being created by a company called Rainbow Mascots. They did a fairly decent job at recreating the two jungle outfits. They're pretty much spot on in terms of accuracy, but the both of them just look so strange and weird because of the material used to make them. Perhaps if they had just done what LEGO did for rebooted Kai, the two of them wouldn't look so off-putting. The two of them just give off a massive vibe of being cheaply made. All it would take is one sharp thumbtack and the green ninja would be no more. Ninjago's golden boy Kai was lucky enough to receive two costumes for his jungle suit, with this one being a lot better quality wise and actually made by LEGO. They really wanted you to know because they slapped their logo right onto his belt for some ungodly reason. This costume was so close to being perfect, and LEGO just had to go out of their way and stamp their little logo right onto the front of his torso. Just imagine if LEGO did this for all of the other ninja suits, which would somehow make these suits even worse. LEGO themselves even seemed ashamed by their design flaw, as at a German fan event in 2023 of all years, the mascot costume made an appearance, with the torso swapped around to show the back instead of the front, shamelessly trying to hide their mistake. If you were looking forward to seeing the Deep Stone outfits brought to life with their very own mascot costumes, then I have some terrible news as LEGO did not make a single possession-themed mascot costume, with LEGO even committing the worst sin of not giving Skybound any mascot costumes. Skipping right past the second half of 2015 and first half of 2016, LEGO instead decided to give Day of the Departed the mascot costume treatment, which I suppose does make sense, as Ninjago World opening at Legoland happened right around the time of Day of the Departed's release, and was actually our first look at the Day of the Departed suits, but I would still gladly sacrifice them all for at least one Skybound J costume. For once, each ninja got a mascot costume for their Day of the Departed suits, but they still just had to show favoritism for Kai, as he got both an unmasked and masked version. Unfortunately for Cole, his Day of the Departed costume would actually be the only ever mascot costume for his character. Well geez, I wonder who's LEGO's least favourite ninja. This wouldn't be Zane, Nia and Jay's only costumes, but it would be their only ones featuring the older designs. We may not have gotten a Skybound Jay costume, but at least they used the smiling face from the Misfortunes Keep set, so that pretty much makes this the best Ninjago mascot costume ever. And of course, how can we talk about the Day of the Departed mascot costumes without mentioning this little slip up? Somehow, it seems like a Jay head that was most likely made for his costume ended up being used by Lloyd. Genuinely have no idea as to how such a mistake could be made. I think what makes this even worse is that LEGO is still making this mistake, using this exact same Lloyd in marketing for a 2024 Legoland event. The year is 2024, and you're telling me that LEGO still hasn't fixed the head on this one costume? No matter how much money Ninjago makes them, LEGO will just continue to show that they really do not care that much about the brand. The Sixth Ninja wouldn't be the only ones getting mascot costumes around this time, as Sensei Wu would also join them with his Day of the Departed / Hands of Time attire. Our next mascot costumes wouldn't be based off the Ninjago TV show, but instead the LEGO Ninjago movie. I know I probably should have put a trigger warning before bringing it up. Unlike with the Day of the Departed wave of costumes, only two of the ninja would actually receive mascot outfits to represent the movie designs, which to be fair is probably for the better. This as a life-size costume would only scare the children. Unsurprisingly, the main character of the movie himself, Lloyd, would be one of the lucky ninja chosen for an outfit, appearing at the premiere of the film and other Ninjago-themed events, alongside Nia, who is the other ninja chosen by the LEGO gods, even getting favoritism over Lloyd as she had both an unmasked and masked variant. Guess they really wanted Nia to become a fan-favorite character within the movie. Too bad they didn't give her enough screen time to actually become one. With Jackie Chan, the martial arts legend, voicing Sensei Wu, it should be no surprise that they gave Wu an updated costume for the movie, perfectly translating his design into costume form, and just like Nia, he too received two variants. Poor old Lloyd. He got all the screen time in the film, but only one mascot costume. The only major difference between Sensei Wu's two movie costumes would be the heads, with this one here basically just being the original Wu costume head. Meanwhile, this movie Wu costume featured a much different head design. Instead of a plastic beard and plastic hat, we now have a completely fabric head, complete with a very wide smile. He's just so damn happy to be voiced by Jackie Chan. After the great redesigns of 2018, the Sons of Garmadon suits would be the last wave of ninja suits to receive mascot costumes, only consisting of 3 outfits, which, surprise surprise, one of them was Lloyd, just coming from the club apparently. Alongside Lloyd, there's the surprise choice of Jay and Zane, thankfully with the mask on and covering that godforsaken smile. Was expecting them to choose Kai and Neo over Jay and Zane, but I guess they saw that they needed to give the best ninja another mascot costume. And Zane's here too, I guess, for some reason. As good as these suits look in costume form, I do have to say that their armor pads are certainly very undersized compared to the rest of the costumes. Those armor pads are absolutely not protecting them in battle. And now we have arrived at the latest additions to the Ninjago Mascot costume family. It's a dysfunctional family, but hey, it's a family nonetheless. Eren and Sora, being introduced just this year, which actually gave us our first look at Sora's new more accurate hairpiece, way before official set images were revealed. I wasn't even expecting LEGO to ever make mascot costumes for these two characters, so it's great to see that LEGO are actually treating Eren and Sora like new main characters by giving them the honours of having a mascot costume. Let's just hope they don't give them the Cole treatment and make these their only costumes. I think that over the years, LEGO has done a pretty good job at representing Ninjago with the many mascot costumes we've seen, but I can't help but feel like they could be doing much more. It would have been awesome to see every ninja suit brought to life in mascot costumes, but it would certainly be a very expensive task to fulfill, so I'm not surprised LEGO hasn't done it. They could have at least made one costume for each wave of suits. Surely Ninjago generates them enough money to afford one measly mascot costume a year. If they're not going to make any more costumes, they could at least use the SOG costumes from now on, as they actually reflect the ninja look within the show, as opposed to the older costumes they continue to use. It just feels like they're promoting something that you can't even get anymore. I mean, hey, if a disgruntled Legoland employee wants to get rid of one of these costumes, I would gladly take it off their hands. That sure would be one hell of an extreme cosplay. I'd be sure to wear it while signing the divorce papers. It's also a shame that we never seem to have gotten any villain-based costumes, so I think a 4-armed Garmadon costume would have been really cool to see. I certainly wouldn't have said no to a Nauticon costume, but I can definitely see how he wouldn't have been very practical to make. I suppose we'll just have to settle with the homemade option.